Welcome to my channel. I'm teaching you how to make a laminate cosmetic bag with a zipper and everything, all before your baby wakes up. Let's get started. I'm going to be using a laminate fabric, and this is not to be confused with a vinyl or oilcloth fabric. Laminate's a lot softer and it's perfect for this kind of bag. It also holds up really well and it's waterproof, which is ideal for a cosmetic bag. Sewing with this laminate fabric was actually really easy on my machine, but if you're having trouble, try a roller or Teflon foot, or to save money, since we know presser feet are really expensive, you can tape the bottom of your regular presser foot or use some tissue paper and place that over the fabric while you're sewing and just tear off that paper when you're done. You'll need a sewing machine as well as a zipper foot. I'm also using a rotary mat, a clear ruler, and a rotary blade. This makes cutting out all the pieces really simple and precise. You'll also need a 7-inch zipper. I'm using these clips instead of pinning because I don't want to leave holes in my laminate fabric. I'm cutting 2 pieces of each of the ones you see here. The top strip is cut 2.5 inches by 10 inches. The middle is cut to 6 inches by 10 inches, and the bottom is 8.25 inches by 10 inches. I also cut 2 zipper tabs, 1 inch wide by 2 inches long. Let's start with the zipper. I'm using these clips instead of pins. The first thing I'm going to do is take the top tab that I cut and place it right side down on top of that zipper bowl. I'm also going to line up the top edge to be a little bit below the top edge of the zipper. As you can see here, the top edge of my tab is below where the zipper starts. I'm going to be stitching right along here, but I actually unzipped the zipper pull. This will make sewing easier. I replaced my regular foot with a zipper foot, and I also moved my needle all the way over to the left for this part of the project. I'm now going to remove the little clips and stitch pretty close to that zipper pull edge, but obviously not on top of the pull edge. Now I'm going to trim off the excess with my scissors. You can't iron laminate fabric or it will burn, so instead I'm going to be taking my thumb and finger and just rubbing this fabric down. This is referred to as finger pressing. Next, I'm going to flip over the zipper and actually press down 1/4 inch at the top edge and finger press this down as well. And then after I'm done finger pressing that, I'm folding the entire thing in half and overlapping that folded edge on top of the edge I just sewed and making sure I cover up those stitches. I'm actually going to clip this in place and I'm going to stitch right along that edge. All finished. You should have a stitched edge like that one, and we're going to repeat with the bottom zipper tab. So I'm taking my other zipper tab and I'm placing it on top of the bottom edge of the zipper, and again I'm leaving extra room at that bottom edge of the zipper and repeating the process. Perfect, you're done with your zipper. Next, I'm going to take the top 2.5 by 10 inch piece and place it right sides together at the top of my 6 inch by 10 inch piece. I'm going to place this as evenly as possible and then add those little clips and stitch this 1/4 inch from the this side edge to the next side, knotting at beginning and end. Next, I'm going to finger press the seam down. You're going to repeat those steps for the other 2 pieces you have, and now we're going to actually make the gusset part of the little bag. So separate the pieces, flip them over so you have the back side, and you're going to only the bottom 2 corners. We'll go ahead and start with this corner. I'm using a clear ruler, and this one's really nice because you can see the different inches really clearly, and I'm only measuring a 1-inch square using that corner as part of my square. And I'm just going to take a Sharpie pen and literally just mark right around the ruler to create a square. And then I'm actually going to cut it out, and that's it. Just bear with me, I know it looks a little funny. Repeat that with all the bottom corners, making sure you not do the top corners. Now we're going to sew the zipper onto the bag. So take your zipper and leave about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch at each edge where the zipper is not actually reaching the edge, if that makes sense. And then go ahead and place your zipper right side down on top of that top edge. You're going to use your clips and just put this in place. We have our zipper foot back on our sewing machine, but this time I moved the needle all the way over to the right instead of the left. You don't want to sew too close to the zipper teeth, so I like to keep the edge of my presser foot right next to the zipper teeth and my needle over to the right. I also moved my zipper tab down so that way I can go over it with ease. And then when I get to this point and reach where the tab is, I actually put my needle down and I lift my presser foot up, and then I actually zip that zipper back up again over to where I've already sewn. And this just kind of gets it out of the way so I can continue sewing my project without having any weird bumpy trails. Your zipper should look like this when it's all finished. Next, you're going to take your 8 1/4 inch by 10 inch piece and you're going to flip it over so that the right side is facing down, and you're going to place it right on top of the zipper. You want to match the edge from the 6 inch by 10 inch and 2 1/2 inch by 10 inch piece and the 8 1/4 inch by 10 inch piece. They should be matching the two edges. And now you're actually going to flip the entire thing over because you want to follow right along that stitching when you're sewing. So yes, you're sewing right on top of that stitching line. It's a really good guideline. All right, here it is all stitched. And in case there was any confusion, I stitched it all the way to the end, but I, in addition, stitched over that old stitching. As you can see, there's like old stitching from the zipper there, but I still went all the way to both ends. Next, you're actually going to finger press this down. So do you see how I lifted up that zipper? So the zipper is now attached on one side, but the top main piece and the inside piece of the cosmetic bag needs to be really well finger pressed. All right, so everything's finger pressed down and we have our zipper attached to one piece, and now we're going to go ahead and sew on our other piece. So take your other main piece and you're going to actually take this top edge and place it along that top zipper part. So flip it right side down, and you want to go ahead and match that top edge to the top edge of the zipper, but also match those two side edges. So you want the side edge of this main piece to match up with our old main piece. All right, I flipped over the entire piece. So underneath is where that main piece is. This way I can actually see the zipper, and I'm going to go ahead and sew right along next to that zipper using my zipper foot once again. So here it's all stitched. I sewed it just like I did before. And now I'm going to keep it flipped over just like this. I'm taking the other inside piece. I'm flipping it right side down. So the right side's facing the zipper. And I'm placing it right on top of the zipper again and lining up this piece with the old piece, just like before. And again, I'm flipping it over so I can actually see that old zip line. So do you see that old stitching line right there? And I'm going to actually follow right along that zipper line, but I'm also going to go ahead and sew all the way to the end and all the way to the beginning. So here it is, it's all finished, and I need to finger press the main piece and the inside piece again. I added some top stitching around my zipper for effect, which you can totally do as well. Now for this next step, make sure you unzip your zipper and then place the right sides of the main pieces together and the right sides of the inside pieces together. And I'm about to show you. You want to make sure everything is lined up. So we're going to be sewing up the sides and the bottom pieces, but not the little squares you've cut. So those are the only places we're not sewing. Oh, and we're also leaving a little opening at the bottom. And I'll show you that in the next clip. Here's an example of mine all clipped and ready to get sewn. All right, here's my piece all sewn. I've sewn up the sides, making sure that the seam where my zipper starts and ends faces toward the main piece and not the inside pieces. So do you see how that seam is facing down? That's where my zipper starts and ends. It just makes a cleaner look when both of them are at least going in the right direction. I also did not sew past the squares that I cut, but I did leave an opening at the bottom on the inside piece. All right, the next thing we're doing is making the gusset, which is like that wide piece that helps that cosmetic bag to sit up on its own. We're going here by the square and we're opening it up, and we're going to be matching the seam allowance together. So do you see those seams? You want to make sure those lines match up perfectly if you can, and you're going to press one seam allowance towards the left and the other ones to the right. It doesn't matter which, but as long as they're both going in opposite directions, because this gives it a nice clean finish. Next, I'm going to take a clip and just clip this in place. And then I'm going to be stitching this 1/2 of an inch. You're stitching it from the one end to the other end, like at the folded parts. This will make a little more sense once you see how I'm stitching it. But do you see my finger is kind of tracing a line? That's where I'm going to be stitching. So remember, 1/2 of an inch seam allowance. And here it is, all finished. Perfect. I'm going to repeat this to all the corners. And this is what they should look like at the end. Now, that hole I made on the inside fabric is going to allow me to pull everything through. And look how beautiful. As you can see, my gussets turned out perfect, and I love that the seams line up really well together, but we're not quite finished. I need to sew up that hole that I left behind in order to flip everything out. So pull out the entire piece again, because that just is going to make it easier, and you're going to go ahead and sew up this seam by folding in the raw edges the way I'm doing it, like this, and kind of finger pressing it down, using clips to hold it in place, and just top stitching from the beginning of the hole to the end of the hole, knotting it beginning and end. And you'll just tuck the inside piece back inside your cosmetic bag and zip it up. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy your cosmetic bag.